Football Saturday in Columbus, Ohio began as it always does in St. John Arena with the Skull Session. The band getting everyone fired up as the Buckeyes make their way towards Ohio Stadium for another college football afternoon. And we bring you in for the pride of the Buckeyes at Script, Ohio. BTN Football, presented by the United States Marine Corps, today in Columbus, Ohio, as the Ohio State Buckeyes get set to go to work against the Indiana Hoosiers. A win today for the Buckeyes, and they are your division champions in the East. They punch their ticket to Indianapolis and keep their eyes on perhaps even a bigger prize, the college football playoff. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Glenn Mason, I'm Kevin Kugler. Now, you know that Urban Meyer all week long to the media is saying, look, we're not on the playoff. We're all about beating Indiana. And Glenn Mason, I know, as a longtime coach, that's exactly right. They don't know anything about that playoff, right?
That's a bunch of baloney. I can tell you that. Urban Meyer always preaches focus at the task at hand. He does a great job of it. That's why he has seldom lost a game in the month of November. Sure, beat Indiana today, clinch the title. Let's not forget they've got Michigan next week, or as they call it, the team up north. Win that game on the Indianapolis. Win that game, college playoff.
It's a very exciting time for Ohio State football and a very exciting time for this ballgame. How do they win today? Let's get the Bank of America keys to the game, and let's start with the Buckeyes.
Well, you got to start with the Buckeyes against that Indiana offense, and they've got to contain Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman is Indiana's offense. The Buckeye defense, #1 in the country in not allowing plays over 20 yards. They'll be tested today because Tevin Coleman is a big play machine. This guy is really a good back. And then for the Indiana Hoosiers, they have to tackle in open space. Everybody knows the skilled players that Ohio State has. They'll get the ball out there. If they don't tackle well in open space, little gains turn into big gains. And one guy does not bring these Buckeyes down. They must gang tackle.
Urban Meyer and the Buckeyes trying to close out the East Division crown with a win over Xander Diamont and the Indiana Hoosiers. Kickoff is coming on BTN. The Buckeyes making their way onto the field here in Columbus with their eyes squarely set on an East Division championship. A win today, and they are champions and on their way to Indianapolis. A tough day here in Columbus. Icy roads around the area, and some of the fans still trying to make their way into Ohio Stadium to see the Buckeyes clinch the East Division. And this Buckeye team very focused on what they have to do. First step, get to Indianapolis. In their way, the folks from Indy, the Indiana Hoosiers, as they make their way onto the field here at Ohio Stadium. The Hoosiers and the Buckeyes will get this one kicked off in just a moment on BTN. Columbus, Ohio, Indiana and Ohio State just about ready to go at Ohio Stadium here in Columbus, Ohio. The third member of our broadcast crew is Lisa Byington as she's down on the field. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, Kevin. Hey, last week against Minnesota, it was a school record kind of game for Ohio State quarterback J.T. Barrett, and the one school record that's really garnering some national attention. How about touchdowns that he is accounted for in a single season? And he stacks up against these kind of guys. How about Jameis Winston, the Heisman Trophy winner last year? Then it's Oregon's Marcus Mariota, Johnny Manziel 2 years ago. He has topped them all. J.T. Barrett sitting at 38. You see that list? It's impressive to stack up against those names.
Well, J.T. Barrett has been a revelation. Last week, 4 total touchdowns, 200 passing yards, 189 rushing yards. 6th game, Glenn Mason, with 4 or more touchdowns this season.
Well, the job that this coaching staff has done with that young man, not taking any credit away from him, but everybody was assuming it was going to be Braxton Miller, and he came on the scene.
Our Auto Owners Insurance Impact players, Ohio State's getting the football first.
Well, first Ezekiel Elliott, the running back, and amazing, they say he is a violent downhill blocker. And then Devin Smith, the big play guy on the outside. And you got to look at Mark Murphy, the scholar athlete from Akron St. V, playing that safety position.
It was icy this morning. The ice and freezing rain has gone away. It hasn't helped folks get here quite yet. Roads were closed all around the area. 38 degrees as we kick this one off. Curtis Samuel from the goal line going to work for the Buckeyes. Nice little spin, and Samuel just shy of the 25-yard line. And this Buckeye offense, 10th in the nation, making its way out onto the field, and a team that averages nearly 50 points per game at home.
I'm surprised that Indiana decided to give Ohio State the ball first. High-powered offense, and Indiana defense is struggling. And one of the amazing statistics about Ohio State, their offense, 3 and outs. They've only done it 9% of the time on the year. That's second in the country.
Just 13 times this year they've gone 3 and out. Impressive. From the 24 on first down. Spencer in motion. And here's Ezekiel Elliott to the edge, and Elliott out of bounds near the 28, chased out by Flo Harden. Ezekiel Elliott has done a lot of very good things this year for this Ohio State offense, not only as a rusher but as a blocker, really just an all-around football player.
Yeah, the question was who was going to replace Carlos Hyde, who was spectacular last year, and this guy has done that and more.
2nd down and 6. And the swing pass to the other side, and Marshall with a first down to the Buckeye 35-yard line.
Well, they start out with 2 swing passes, which are really nothing more than runs in a spread offense. And one of the keys that we'll keep an eye on today, how well Ohio State blocks on the perimeter. Great job.
Tempo will be big in this game, Mace, for both of these teams. They both like to go quickly. Indiana has varied their pace a little bit with young Xander Diamont at the helm. Up the middle, big hole for Ezekiel Elliott, and Elliott into the clear. Elliott is going to take it all the way for the touchdown. Untouched, 65 yards, Ezekiel Elliott, his 8th touchdown run of the year.
Now do you see why, if I was Indiana, I would not have elected to give Ohio State the ball first?
Sean Nurnberger on for the extra point. And what a start for the Ohio State Buckeyes, Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, look at the hole right here. I mean, you talk about good blocking, but this is the foundation of the Urban Meyer offense. You spread people, 2 swing passes, stretching them horizontally, then hit them right up the middle for the home run.
Football on BTN is presented by the United States Marine Corps, the few, the proud, the Marines. And brought to you by Go RVing. Find the RV that's right for your tailgate at GoRVing.com.
Not a great day to tailgate, but those folks are happy to do it. 7-0 Ohio State, and what a start for the Buckeyes. Longest run, that one 65 yards since Boom Herron had an 89-yarder against Michigan in 2010.
You want to know why it's a big hole? Watch Jeff Hireman, the tight end, fold in here and make a key block, and he's off to the races. Well-designed play. Not only a tight end, you're supposed to catch the ball. You better block in this offense. Tight end lined up as a wing.
On that run, Ezekiel Elliott over 1,000 yards for the season. Fourth player under Urban Meyer to do so. 30th in Buckeye history with 1,000 yards in a season. Harris from the 5. Harris to the 20. A little bit of a crease, and Harris across the 30 and down near the 32. Our Auto Owners Insurance impact players with the Hoosiers taking over on offense.
Well, who else do you start with but Tevin Coleman, the running back, second leading rusher in the country. And then Shane Wynn, he had 11 receptions against Rutgers last week. And on defense, Joey Bosa, the most dominant player in the Big Ten Conference.
Closing in on the single season sack record at Ohio State. He's got 11.5. Vernon Golston had 14 a few years back. At the 32 on first down, Xander Diamant, the true freshman, pulled into duty after the injury to Nate Sudfeld. And Coleman the carry on first down, and Coleman not finding much, maybe a half yard, but Curtis Grant right there in the middle of that line to make the stop. There's Xander Diamant. The numbers against Michigan after the Michigan State: 282 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and 1 rushing touchdown. Diamant to the air and through the hands of Shane Wynn and incomplete. Diamant has had some issues, obviously, and he's a youngster just getting his start, but the receivers of Indiana have not helped out their quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, when you have an inexperienced player at quarterback, the surrounding cast, offensive line, receivers, backs, all going to help him.
On 3rd and 9, Diamant again to the air. He was hit hard as he got rid of it by Bosa. And it's 4th down. The Hoosier offense 3 and out, and the punt team comes on.
Well, this Hoosier offense does not want to get in 3rd and longs very often and let that defensive line led by Joey Bosa pin their ears back and go after the quarterback. It'll be a long day for young Mr. Xander.
Joshua Perry in there as well for the Buckeyes, as Eric Toth will punt it away. Jalen Marshall waiting back at his 20-yard line. Short punt. Buckeyes will have good field position at the 35-yard line. Good start today in Columbus for the home team. A touchdown in 3 plays and a 3 and out on D. Two head coaches head-to-head today. Kevin Wilson of Indiana, Urban Meyer of Ohio State. 7-0 lead for the Buckeyes. If you're looking for the Rutgers-Michigan State game, go to btn.com/gamefinder right now to see where you can find your game. Second offensive possession for Ohio State at the 35-yard line. On first down, Barrett the toss to Smith, and Corey Smith fighting out to the 38-yard line. 3-yard pickup on the play, and it'll bring up a 2nd down and 7.
Well, they're starting off the second series the way they did the first series. Throw the ball on the perimeter, make Indiana flow out there, loosen them up that way, and then come back and hit them up the middle.
On 2nd and 7, Barrett again to the edge, this time to Devin Smith. And Devin Smith breaks that tackle and has the first down to the 49-yard line. Antonio Allen on the tackle, 11-yard pickup on the play.
I talked about one of the keys of the game for Indiana is making open field tackles. Easier said than done against this type of caliber of athlete.
And Ohio State working the edges with that swing pass, Mace, and then watch out for that middle run again. Ezekiel Elliott took it 65 yards on the opening possession. Here's Elliott again up the middle, and he's into Indiana territory down to the 48-yard line, tackled by Bobby Richardson. Tough task ahead for this Indiana team, no question about it. They have had some moments this year, mainly with Tevin Coleman, and this defense, big plays have been their Achilles heel this year. We saw it on that first drive. Second and 7, Elliott again breaks the tackle. To the outside, and Elliott caught at the 31-yard line. Antonio Allen there to make the stop of Ezekiel Elliott, who picks up 17 more.
Well, Indiana guessed right. They brought the strong safety blitz, and you can see he could have made the tackle right there. Could have, should have, but he didn't. Result, a negative play turns into a big play.
At the 31-yard line for the Buckeyes. Here's Barrett. J.T. Barrett weaving in the middle of the field down to the 10. Nick Mangieri and Tim Bennett finally able to catch up with the elusive freshman quarterback. They'll spot him just shy of the 10-yard line, so it is a 1st and 10 at the 11 for the Buckeyes.
You talked about the number of touchdowns he's thrown. He's got over 700 yards rushing on the year. Complete football player.
First down from the 11-yard line. Barrett in trouble, and Barrett is going to be sacked. Darius Latham got into the backfield and dropped Barrett at the 16.
You see it right here. They get a little twist in the middle and they get knocked off. Jacoby Bourne, the center, got knocked off and the right guard stayed on his man. You got to area block that to pick up a twist.
Second and 15 at the 16-yard line. Barrett under pressure again. And Barrett able to make something out of nothing. Gets back near the original line of scrimmage at the 11-yard line. 5-yard pickup for Barrett. Latham again on the tackle.
You know, both those last plays when he was hurried, one being sacked, you could see that the receiver he was going to was covered sack by the Indiana defense, and he had to pull the ball down.
3rd down and 10. And movement up front, and that's going to cost the Buckeyes 5. Our referee, Ron Snodgrass, will tell us.
False start. Offense. Number 3. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
One. Yeah, you see it right there. That should never happen to a wide receiver. You got to watch the ball. You don't listen to anything. And as good as the Buckeyes have been, they've struggled in the red zone. Only 44 to 53 scores. Only 37 touchdowns. They look to improve on that.
3rd down and 15 at the 16. Barrett over the middle. Hireman with the catch. Hireman at the 5. Fighting to the 4. Still struggling, but he'll be stopped short. Mark Murphy, among others, hanging on for dear life to Jeff Hireman, and it's 4th down. Crowd wants Urban Meyer to go. What does Glenn Mason think? I think we got our answers, what we think. Barrett to the air, and Hireman with the touchdown.
I'd have gone for it.
What a start for the Buckeyes offense. 2 possessions, 2 drives, 2 touchdowns.
The key there is the decision to go for it down in that situation was made long before this game. That's why they went fast tempo, caught Indiana sleeping, easy touchdown. You don't do that just on the sideline.
Nurnberger's extra point. That is good, and a 14-0 lead with 8:28 remaining in this first quarter. Jeff Hireman and the Buckeyes on the board. One more look at J.T. Barrett's 30th touchdown pass of the year. J.T. Barrett, touchdown number 30. And that ties the Ohio State record held by Troy Smith for a single season. 30 touchdown passes for J.T. Barrett.
Hey, we already showed you how Hireman can block. Now watch, I can play wide receiver too. Watch this pass here, good move, and look at the fight in this guy trying to get it in the end zone. Not quite. Urban Meyer said, I'm going to go for a 4th down. I'm going to run Hireman again, right in the flat, real quick, catch Indiana sleeping. The result is touchdown. Hireman saying, man, I love this game plan. This is working today.
14-0. Now, you and I were talking during the break. That's something that is planned well before just that moment by Urban Meyer and his coaching staff.
You know, sure, you go through all the situations, and I'm sure Urban Meyer and Tom Herman, the offensive coordinator, said, okay, early in the game dictates. We get it down inside the 5-yard line and 4th down. What are we going to do? We're going to kick for it or go for it? And they said, we're going to go for it. They had the play ready.
Kickoff toward the sideline and out of bounds. So an error by the Buckeyes. And Indiana will have decent field position.
Kickoff out of bounds by the kicking team. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. 1st down.
Well, Urban's not very happy because he coaches the kicking team.
This week on a new episode of The Journey, Big Ten Football 2014, meet Ohio State defensive lineman Joey Bosa and learn about his Buckeye lineage. Also learn more about Indiana's Shane Wynn and his Cleveland roots. That and much more this week on The Journey, Wednesday night at a special time of 9 p.m. Eastern, immediately following the men's basketball telecast of Campbell at Ohio State. Buckeyes have outgained Indiana 146-1 in this first quarter. Toss to Coleman on the edge. Got a block. Tevin Coleman to the 40, and Tevin Coleman with a 1st down for Indiana. Von Bell finally able to catch up with Tevin Coleman, but a good gain of 11 yards.
Talking to Luke Fickell about how do you defend Tevin Coleman, he says, well, first of all, you have to leverage him. They lost leverage there. He got outside, and then you got to tackle.
Last week, 307 yards on the road. Nobody in college football has more yards on the road than Tevin Coleman. Came into today rushing for 956 yards away from home. From the 46, Coleman again. This time, nothing doing. Right into the meat of that defense, and Michael Bennett, the first one there. Joshua Perry to help out. Lisa Byington is down on the field. Lisa?
When you talk about the numbers with Tevin Coleman, it's become a routine every Sunday for the running backs coach, Dylan McCullough, the entire group of running backs, to look at the best rushing numbers against their opponent for this year. Against Ohio State, 370 for a team individually. Minnesota's David Cobb got 147. That's going to be difficult to top here for the Hoosiers, but Indiana will try to do that exactly today.
So hard for Tevin Coleman because everybody in the world knows he's going to be carrying the ball a ton, yet he's still getting it done. 44.1% of the scrimmage yards this year for Indiana come from number 6. Diamont to the air, and the pass nearly intercepted. Von Bell was leaping over Shane Wynn to try to pick that one off.
Yeah, well, you'll see him going to Shane Wynn, the senior from Cleveland Glenville High School, and not much chance right there. Ball was underthrown and well defended.
3rd down and 11 at the 45. Xander Diamont 0 for 3. Indiana on 3rd down. Well, they've not been very good this year.
I'd run a draw or a screen, or don't just stop back there and throw the ball against his defense.
3rd and 11. Diamont in trouble. He's going to run. Has some room. Diamont cuts it back and a 1st down and more. Xander Diamont to the 20. Xander inside the 10 and stumbling down inside the 5. It'll be 1st and goal. Diamont all the way to the 2-yard line.
Well, you hear it so often, but the loss contained of the quarterback. The right defensive end went inside. There was no one outside. He pulled the ball down, and a lot of green grass in front of him.
53 yards of it to be precise, and Diamont has the Hoosiers at 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. The give is to Coleman, and Tevin Coleman into the end zone with his 13th rushing touchdown of the year.
A 2-yard touchdown run for Tevin Coleman.
And the Hoosiers answer back thanks to the big run from Xander Diamont, and then Tevin Coleman able to find his way into the end zone for 6. Griffin Oaks on for the extra point. And the Hoosiers are on the board, down 7 here in the first. And Xander Diamant's run, the reason they got down there.
Well, yeah, you see, drops back to throw. They lose contain. You see, everybody's inside. Nobody containing to the left to Xander Diamant. He pulls the ball down, and look at him run. Good athletic ability. Almost gets it in the end zone.
And then Tevin Coleman able to pounce on that good field position, pounding it in. And Indiana's got some life in Columbus. Next on BTN, the Wolverines welcome Maryland to the Big House in an Eastern Division clash. Coverage starts at 3:30 Eastern, presented by John Deere on BTN and BTN to go. Then tonight, the Hoosiers host Lamar, followed by the third-ranked Badgers squaring off with Boise State. Coverage starts at 8 Eastern, presented by April Air on BTN and BTN to go. A Super Saturday on BTN. Football, basketball, already 21 points on the board between these two teams. Still in the first quarter. And a good kickoff. Samuel will take a knee and down it for the touchback. Now Ohio State has not been stopped on offense. J.T. Barrett 6 for 6, 41 yards. And the touchdown pass to Jeff Hireman. Ezekiel Elliott 3 carries, 85 yards and a touchdown.
Well, if you're Indiana, this is what you have to do. You have to force them to go the long field. You do not want to give this offense of Ohio State a short field, because you know they're going to gain some yards, so you got to buy yourself some time to get a stop.
At the 25 with Elliott next to Barrett. Barrett on the run. A fumble football. Ball loose at the 32-yard line. It's ruled a catch and a fumble, and Indiana's got the ball. The Hoosiers have it at the Buckeye 32.
Rolling on the field was a catch, then a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Indiana.
Zach Shaw recovers the fumble, and the Hoosiers with the football. They're going to look at it to make sure that there was possession. So they're going to take a look at this to see. Was there possession by Michael Thomas before the ball came out? Let's watch it again.
Well, it's awful close. Hard to tell in real time. It looks...
Flo Harden was the guy who got in there and ripped it. The replay booth looked at it as we were looking at it. They're not stopping it. So it is a catch and a fumble, and it's Indiana ball, and Diamant to the air, and Shane Wynn. And Wynn picks up good yardage at the 22-yard line. Now, for our purposes, let's slow this down and see.
All righty. Catches it. Yeah, I would say that was a catch and a fumble. I think they've got it right.
Second down and a yard at the 22-yard line. Diamant again to the air and again to Wynn. Breaks one tackle and down at the 17-yard line. Tyrus Powell had the chance to get him first, and then Joshua Perry finished off Shane Wynn.
Well, Shane Wynn from Cleveland Glenville, he had 11 catches last week against Rutgers. Looks like they're going to have the same game plan this week.
First down and 10 for Indiana. Tevin Coleman beat Joey Bosa. 1-yard gain to the 16. Well, Indiana does not get a lot of fumbles. The third fumble recovery this season for Indiana. 2 have come in the last 2 games. Coleman again plowing to the 13-yard line for the Hoosiers, who face a big third down.
I asked Luke Fickell, being that they're really a one-dimensional offense, Indiana, can you gang up on the run? He said, not as much as you'd think, because of 2 reasons. They run the option. That's limiting what you can do. And the fast tempo that they run, we don't want to do too much, because we want to get lined up correctly in base defense.
Indiana taking a little more time here on this critical 3rd down and 6 at the 13-yard line. Play clock at 10. Diamond not sure what he's going to call. They're going to call a timeout to talk about this one.
Timeout, Indiana, they're first. This will be a 30-second
4:50 remaining in the first quarter. And Kevin Wilson tapping his shirt. He's saying, that's my bad.
Yeah, that's my bad. He must have changed the call if they give him enough time. Timeout.
Next weekend, we close out the regular season with a doubleheader of rivalry games. First at noon, Purdue and Indiana battle for the old Oaken Bucket. Then at 3:30, Paul Bunyan's axe is on the line when Minnesota takes on Wisconsin. Coverage starts at noon Eastern next Saturday on BTN and BTN to go. 3rd down and 6. Diamond, the screen incomplete. Looking for Wynn, pressure up the middle, and it's 4th down, and the field goal unit will come on for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, they went with the missile screen. Some people call it the fire screen. I like that call right there. High reward, low risk. They figure they've got a chance at the field goal to get on the board. Let's not make a mistake down here. Get on the board again, I should say.
Griffin Oaks on for a 30-yard field goal attempt. See the numbers this season for Oaks, the freshman from Greenwood, Indiana. From 30. And the kick by Oaks is good. So Indiana takes advantage of the Ohio State turnover, and they put 3 on the board. Hoosiers down by 4. (14-10) Ohio State, 4:41 remaining in the first quarter. The remaining schedules for the college football playoff contenders. Mason and I have been spending a lot of time trying to decipher everything that may or may not happen to see Ohio State move into that top 4. What do you give it a percentage chance for the Buckeyes?
I think they've got a good chance. They might need a little bit of help. I worry about Mississippi State if they beat Ole Miss and are sitting home during championship week while Alabama, I assume, is playing, that they might not be able to leapfrog Georgia, but I think they will. Eye test. They passed the eye test.
Samuel on his way out. Eludes one man and is down just shy of the 20-yard line as we check in downstairs with Lisa Byington.
Well, the Ohio State players have really followed the lead of their coaches in terms of keeping up focus and not really thinking too much about the big picture. They said, it's impossible to escape entirely the hype of the playoff talk. But I think the fact that Ohio State has won 22 consecutive regular season Big Ten games, perhaps the biggest example of how focused this program has become. And when you talk about tunnel vision of the coaches, how about offensive coordinator Tom Herman telling us his own mother had to tell him Ohio State was ranked 6th in the country. He didn't know.
Thanks a lot, Mom. Taking the focus off the game. 1st down and 10 at the 20-yard line. Marshall, the motion man. Elliott, the carry, and out to the 23-yard line. To that playoff point, though, Mace, Urban Meyer did give us a little glimpse inside the coach's room when we were talking with him yesterday. It's not all quiet on the playoff front.
Well, no, because he wanted them to embrace what's ahead of them right here. And he talks about the grind that they go through, which is really tough. And late this season, you'll use any motivation. So I'm sure he wanted to make sure there's a carrot hanging there for him.
2nd and 7 at the 23-yard line. Barrett on the key. Barrett with a 1st down at the 30-yard line. Antonio Allen on the tackle as we check in Chicago for a T-Mobile studio update.
Okay, Kevin, thanks. Rutgers and Michigan State on a 4th down. The Spartans get the touchdown. Jeremy Langford with the TD run. It's 14-0 MSU.
Dave, thanks. Good start for Michigan State. Similar start to what we saw here for Ohio State, but Indiana has come roaring back, now down just 4, 14-10. Ezekiel Elliott to the edge. Good tackle at the 33-yard line by Mark Murphy. Not surprising to see Mark Murphy involved in a tackle. He's made a lot of them in his very strong Indiana career.
No, you talk about the senior from Akron St. Vincent's High School right here in Ohio. When you start seeing a safety making a tackle right there, watch out for the play-action pass.
5 carries, 91 yards for Ezekiel Elliott. Of course, 1 for 65 will help that average. Second and 7 at the 33. Barrett on the keep. Barrett to the edge and upended across the 35-yard line by Rashard Fan. So now 3rd down and 4 for Ohio State. 2 minutes 30 seconds remaining in this first half. J.T. Barrett has 1 passing TD today. If he gets into the end zone on the ground, he becomes the first player in Big Ten history to go 30 passing and 10 rushing touchdowns, just to illustrate a little bit more about the remarkable season that Barrett has had. Marshall in motion, Barrett on the keep, and Barrett lunging to the first down marker at the 40-yard line. Nate Hoff had it, but Barrett kept driving forward and got the first.
Yeah, he's a big, strong runner for a quarterback. He's got the ability that when he tucks that ball in his arm, he becomes a running back. And you saw Jalen Marshall with that motion again. I keep going back that so much of what they do is they want to give you the illusion that they're going horizontally, sideline to sideline, and then hurt you vertically, both the run and the pass.
Curtis Samuel in it, running back motioning out of the backfield. He'll get it on the toss. Samuel to the 45. Broke 1 tackle and stopped 2 yards short of the first down at the 48-yard line. Again, working that edge. It was so effective early in this first quarter for Ohio State to get those guys in space out there.
Yeah, 2 swing passes and then a little dive play right up the middle with Ezekiel. And just not the dive play. You always have the threat of the quarterback pulling the ball and going out the back door in the option play. So that's another horizontal stretch deal.
2nd down and 2. The first Hoosier to get him at the 43-yard line of Indiana.
J.T. Barrett, to what he's been able to accomplish, and it'd be amazing if it was still in the days when everybody huddled up and you sent the play in with the messenger, but he's standing out there and they're signaling the plays in. He's supposed to make all the checks. Really a remarkable young man.
From the 43. Get their 2nd turnover of the first quarter. Ninth interception thrown by J.T. Barrett this year. And the first that hasn't found the hands, the first pass of the day that hasn't found a Buckeye.
Well, he pump fakes, play action, and he's going to Devin Smith, but looks like there's miscommunication because Devin Smith broke it off inside. The ball sailed, and I would tell you that I have to think J.T. Barrett's wrong because that's who Urban Meyer grabbed coming off the field. Miscommunication.
At the 18-yard line, Indiana back to work. Tevin Coleman. Just across the 20-yard line. Joey Bosa again on the tackle. Back to the interception once more.
Well, you're gonna see they're gonna run him in there, and the ball sails. He was wide open. He suckered him. He came off like he was blocking. Then on the fake, he got into the open seam, and Barrett let the ball sail to the safety.
We have reached the end of the first quarter here in Columbus, Ohio, and at Ohio Stadium, the Buckeyes got out to a good start and a big lead, but Indiana has come charging back, and the Buckeyes lead just 4 after 1. Buckeyes celebrating early. Indiana celebrating late in that first quarter. A 14-10 lead for Ohio State. Xander Diamant's big run sparking the Indiana Hoosiers on their comeback road. 2 turnovers have helped for Indiana, but they've got it 2nd and 8 at their own 20 as we start the second quarter here in Columbus. Tevin Coleman to the 23-yard line. Raekwon McMillan with the tackle for Ohio State. Kevin Kugler, Glenn Mason, Lisa Byington on the field today. We certainly happy to have you with us in Columbus. A lot of Buckeye fans had to work awfully hard to get here today. Roads were closed. There was a little bit of freezing rain in the overnight.
We couldn't walk across the parking lot.
Luckily, we had Lisa there to support us. 3rd and 5 at the 23-yard line. Diamont to the air and through the hands of Jayshun Harris. It would have been a first down and a big play, but Harris flat out dropped it. Good throw from Diamont.
Yeah, really good throw. Good call by Kevin Wilson. Ohio State comes with the zone blitz. I mean, you've got to catch that ball. Not only it's a first down, but it's a big, big play. They miss a tackle, might go the distance.
Instead, Eric Toth on to punt. Jalen Marshall back deep for the Buckeyes. Marshall at the 34. Slips through one tackle. Spins through another. A lot of work on a 3-yard return for Jalen Marshall. We mentioned those folks that had to work awfully hard. 70 was closed. 71 was closed both ways because of the ice today. And I'll tell you what, these hardy souls have made their way out to watch some college football today. And that's an awfully good crowd. I can tell you about a half hour before we came on the air, most of these folks were not anywhere near their seats, probably not anywhere near Ohio State.
Well, they couldn't get here because the tailgate parking lots were literally empty. And normally when we come to a game, they're packed full. And it was only because they couldn't get here. It wasn't because of the weather.
It's a flag for a sideline warning on the Indiana sideline. No penalty yardage marked off. So 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line for Ohio State.
Well, we've not seen Ohio State try to go downtown yet.
Samuel and Elliott in the backfield. Barrett on the keep. Now the toss to Samuel. And on the option, Samuel with a first down at midfield. 15-yard pickup. Chase Dutra got him around the ankles.
I tell you, talk about formations. We've seen Jeff Hireman line up as a tight end, as a wing, as a slot. That time he was lined up as a wide receiver blocking on the option.
Again, Samuel in motion. They'll run it to the opposite side. Samuel again on the option pitch. Samuel with a cutback. And Samuel down at the 36 of Indiana. Antonio Allen with the tackle. Good block again by Jeff Hireman on that option.
Yeah, you watch Jeff Hireman blocking number 30, Chase Dutra, right here. And I'm going to tell you, that's no easy job out there. We used to call that, you better pack your lunch because that's an all-day block, waiting for that ball carrier to get out there.
Antonio Allen fortunate just to grab the ankle of Samuel. Almost got by him. At the 36, first down. Barrett to the air. The catch by Thomas. First down and more to the Indiana 20-yard line. Flo Harden with the tackle for the Hoosiers. Another 16-yard pickup for Ohio State. The offense clicking here.
Yeah, with the exception of the interception, which was a communication problem, J.T. Barrett just picking them apart, throwing the football.
7 different receivers already have a catch today for Ohio State. It's a way for a quarterback to stay very popular, involve everybody in the game. Motion across from Evan Spencer. First down, Barrett looking for Spencer. Off his hands, deflected and intercepted by Allen again. His second interception of the day. Antonio Allen with a nice return across the 20-yard line. And Indiana has grabbed 3 Buckeye turnovers. It went off the hands of Michael Thomas. Antonio Allen was right there. Ohio State's offense was moving, but a miscue by the Buckeyes as Barrett's tipped pass intercepted by Antonio Allen. Hoosier ball when we return. Second interception of the day thrown by J.T. Barrett. Antonio Allen with the pick. And and Indiana back to work on offense.
Yeah, Tony, I'll have to pick, but you got to credit Tim Bennett, the senior from Columbus, Georgia corner. Pretty darn good coverage right there that caused the tip, and Allen was there to capitalize.
Kevin Wilson's offense back on the field, an 18-yard return. And the turnovers forced first 10 games, they'd forced 3 already today. And Tevin Coleman, no gain on the play as we go back to Chicago for a T-Mobile studio update.
But Kevin, Northwestern needing 2 wins to get to a bowl. A great start against Purdue. Tony Jones bringing the punt back for the touchdown here. 21-0 Northwestern, but Trevor Siemian just hobbled off with an apparent injury.
21-0 lead, but we need Siemian out there for sure. Thank you, Dave. As Tevin Coleman tries it again, and Tevin Coleman maybe 2 to the 23-yard line, and it'll bring up a 3rd down and 8 for Indiana.
You know, all running backs are different. The categorized Tevin Coleman, he's a downhill runner, strong runner, great speed. He's a one-cut guy. It's one cut, and if there's room to go, he goes.
Diamont to the air on 3rd down. Pocket holds over the middle. Wynn is open. He's got it at midfield and into Buckeye territory. Wynn to the 40. Got a block. What a move. And Shane Wynn all the way down to the Ohio State 28-yard line. Duran Grant finally able to catch up 49 yards downfield.
Well, you look at it right here, and Shane Wynn's he's not the biggest guy. He puts a good move, and he gets wide open, and then you got to tackle him. Turn a good gain into a great game by breaking a tackle.
It's the longest completion of Xander Diamant's career, 49 yards. 1st and 10 to the 28. Coleman just tripped up at the 27-yard line, a 1-yard gain on the play. Indiana putting a little shock into the Buckeyes here in Columbus to this point. Down 14-10, but moving. Coleman again. And Tevin Coleman just inside the 25-yard line. So another 3rd down. Bennett and Perry in there on the tackle for Ohio State.
Ohio State's done a good job of getting Indiana in 3rd and long, and that's been their downfall.
The long run by Diamant, the long pass a moment ago. Now 3rd and 7 at the 25-yard line. Sets up the screen to Coleman. Tevin Coleman breaks 1 tackle short of the 1st down at the 20-yard line. Bennett able to hold him short 2 yards away after the missed tackle by Lee gave Coleman some room to run. And it looks like the field goal unit's going to come on for Indiana, but there's an injured Buckeye down on the field at the 20-yard line. And it's Joshua Perry, the leading tackler on this Buckeye defense. Remember that Penn State game? He had such a huge game against the Nittany Lions with 18 tackles in that giant win for Ohio State against Penn State.
Yeah, Joshua's been a linebacker at various positions. This year he moved out to that weak side linebacker position. You know, you make a lot of plays at that position, vacated by Ryan Shazier, who moved on to the National Football League.
Here's Coleman after that toss and the missed tackle there by Lee. See if we can see. It's right there as he comes back. Came down on top of that and grabbed it immediately, his left leg. They need a little support to get off the field as well. That's a guy they really hope is back quickly.
Yeah, local guy from Galena, went to Olentangy High School. Big, good-looking athlete. But, you know, we talked about before what Luke Fickell said about trying to defend these guys. That Tevin Coleman, whoever's got the ball, you got to have leverage. And you saw Darren Lee there. He went to make a tackle, but all his helps to the inside, and his tackle went behind the ball carrier. You got to get it across the bow and wrap your arms.
Griffin Oaks is going to come on for a field goal try. Looks like it's going to be right around 38 yards, maybe 37. They'll mark it at the 27. It'll be a 37-yard try for Griffin Oaks. 1 for 1 today. Hit from 30 earlier. Good snap, good hold. The kick for Oaks is up, and it is good. So Indiana turns another Buckeye turnover into more points. And with 9:34 remaining in the first half, Ohio State's lead down to 1 at home. The Hoosiers hanging tough on the road. Why is this a one-point game? Ohio State miscues, 3 of them to be precise in this first half.
Yeah, the first one's on Michael Thomas, and the second one you got to put on J.T. Barrett and Aaron Throw. And the last one, I'm going to give credit this one. Good coverage by the Indiana corner. Tim Bennett forcing the tip pass, and Allen picks it off.
Ohio State, last time they had 3 turnovers in the first half of a game, it was 2007 against Akron. In a game they played here at home, 20-2 was the score in that one. That's the last time they had 3 turnovers in the first half of a home game. Indiana will kick off down 1 with 9:34 to play first half.
Indiana can be sneaky. They started last week's game with an onside kick. Now, I don't think they'll do it here, but
they're going deep. Samuel will take the knee and take the touchback as we take it to Chicago for a T-Mobile studio update.
A big game in the West, guys. Minnesota and Nebraska. Tommy Armstrong buys some time and hits DeMornay Pearson-Elliott, is ruled a touchdown, his 3rd TD grab of the year. 14-7 Huskers.
Now, DeMornay Pearson-Elliott is a guy who is going to be a real big playmaker for Nebraska in years to come. Great return man and starting to work his way in as a receiver, too.
I remember we did the Nebraska Northwestern game. Pat Fitzgerald said, I am not kicking it to 15.
From the 25 on first down. Samuel in some trouble, and well defended by Indiana that time as they got to the edge and made the tackle. A 1-yard loss on the play. Darius Rayner on the stop for the Hoosiers.
You always talk, Indiana's defense has really been struggling, and you don't want to give them confidence. You want to do what you did in the first series and take the ball right down the field. They're starting to play a little better right now.
2nd down and 11. Ezekiel Elliott to the edge, and Elliott out of bounds. Short of the first down, Tim Bennett chased him out just shy of the 32-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 3.
Well, once again, that play was made possible by the blocking on the perimeter by Jeff Hireman. Really doing a good job. You got to keep your hands inside. Really susceptible to get called for holding out there, but he's doing a heck of a job.
On 3rd and 3, Barrett gonna run. Barrett not gonna get there. Tigray Scales stops him short at the 31.
Well, they're moving the pocket, and Barrett doesn't like what he sees, and so he plants his foot in the ground. That's all he can do. He's already thrown 3 interceptions. He doesn't want to make another mistake, and just not there.
A rare 3-and-out, Glenn Mason, for Ohio State on offense. Just their 14th this year. First punt of the day for Cameron Johnston. Shane Wynn awaiting the punt. Johnson with a line drive punt. Wynn at the 15. Wynn trying to find some room. And the Buckeyes Australian punter does a nice job pinning the Hoosiers deep. Wynn able to get back to the 23-yard line. Tevin Coleman last week, what a night he had.
Well, you don't run for 307 yards unless you have some big plays. And I know we keep it sounding like a broken record, but typically they've been very one-dimensional, so he's going against loaded defenses here, and that's the problem in this game right here. To date, the Buckeyes have done a pretty good job at corralling this guy, but every time the ball is snapped, this guy has the ability to take it the distance.
1st down and 10 at the 22-yard line. A toss to Coleman. Coleman able to cut it back, and Tevin Coleman gets yardage where there wasn't any. Had Darren Lee out there on the edge, cut it away from him, and Curtis Grant makes the stop, a 5-yard gain. Incidentally, Joshua Perry back out on the field right now for the Buckeyes. Good to see him back out there after the apparent injury earlier. Second and 5 at the 27-yard line. Diamant with all kinds of time, nobody open. Now in trouble. Diamant is going to get rid of that football. Smart play by Xander Diamant. Nobody open downfield, couldn't get it out of there, and so he just threw it away. 3rd down.
Yeah, and the mark of the good team, defensive team, is Ohio State. Remember when they gave up contain? Well, they had great contain right there. He had no place to throw the football, and he ran, he kept losing yards. He had to throw it out of bounds. There was absolutely no place he could pull it down and run with.
3rd down and 5. Indiana 2 for 6 today on 3rd down. But those 2 were huge plays. 3rd and 5. Diamant to the air and a 1st down. The catch by Dominique Booth, just his 7th catch of the year, to the 37-yard line. Von Bell and Darren Lee combine on the stop.
Well, you'll watch Xander Diamant here. You know, just execute. That's a gimme throw. And soft coverage. They run a little slant in route, and he picks it up.
On 1st down, a win on the edge, and Shane Wynn out near the 43-yard line. Joshua Perry chasing him out. Indiana taking a page out of the Ohio State playbook there, the little swing pass to the outside.
Well, they are, and we know we've talked a lot about the improvement of J.T. Barrett during the course of the season. We had Indiana against Michigan, and Diamant looks like a different player in this game.
Tevin Coleman to the edge. Coleman able to turn it upfield, and Coleman with a great run to the 41 of Ohio State and a 1st down.
We often talk about.
Did they miss a face mask here? Let's see. On the edge, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Sure did.
Yep.
Rashad Frazier had the face mask. They didn't get the call. And a sack on the play back to midfield of Xander Diamant by Joshua Perry.
I guess Perry's okay, huh?
I would say so. Diamant trying to step away from Bosa, and the sack for the Buckeyes, their 30th of the year. Redding now in and tailback for Indiana on 2nd and 17 at the 48 of Ohio State. Diamant in trouble again. And Diamant chased out by Perry, showing good quickness from Joshua Perry. Got to the edge, and Diamant not able to get much done. 3rd and long at the 47.
Yeah, Diamant got Joey Bosa to leave his feet, so he got outside of him. You talk about Joshua Perry showing some good speed. Speed for a 6'4", 252-pound linebacker. I'd say some speed.
3rd and 16 now at the 47-yard line. Ohio State defense rising up, and a timeout taken by Kevin Wilson. Didn't like what he saw, wanted to take the timeout, and he'll talk things over. 1 timeout remains for Indiana. A 3rd and 16 with the Hoosiers down 1. Next on BTN, the Wolverines welcome Maryland to the Big House in an Eastern Division clash. Coverage starts at 3:30 Eastern, presented by John Deere on BTN and BTN to go. Then tonight, we head from the gridiron to the hardcourt. The Hoosiers host Lamar. Then the 3rd-ranked Badgers square off with Boise State. Coverage starts at 8 Eastern, presented by Aprilaire on BTN and BTN to go. Kevin Kugler alongside Glenn Mason with Lisa Byington on the field. 14-13 Ohio State. 4:40 remaining first half. And Indiana with 3rd and 16 at the Buckeye 47. The sack of Xander Diamant threw off Indiana's plans as Redding on 3rd and long gets the carry and is down at the 41 in the arms of Joshua Perry. Joshua Perry came back on the field after the injury and was involved in nearly every defensive play for the Buckeyes.
You know, that didn't work, but I like the call by Kevin Wilson. 3rd and 16 long, and they ran a draw play over to Joey Bosa's side, and Joey was in full pass mode. He went around that tackle so fast that they wouldn't have had a chance to block.
Toth to punt. Marshall back deep. Indiana going to try to pin the Buckeyes inside their own 10-yard line. Toth just got rid of that one. Fair catch called for. It'll sail over Marshall's head, and it'll sail into the end zone for the touchback. 3:49 remaining in the first half as Ohio State takes back over with a 1-point lead. Kevin Wilson's troops, though, getting some confidence right now. On the road, battling hard against the 6th-ranked Buckeyes. Ohio State ready to go to work on first down from the 20-yard line. Ezekiel Elliott hit and falls forward for a yard. TJ Simmons on the tackle. Our United States Marine Corps leader of the game, Evan Spencer. Boy, did he get some praise from his head coach yesterday.
Yeah, when I brought up Evan Spencer.
Barrett keeps it and is down at the 24-yard line.
When I brought up Evan Spencer to Urban Meyer, he looked me square in the eye and said, he's our MVP. Everything he does exactly right. The way he practices, the way he blocks, how unselfish he is our MVP.
Yeah, MVP, no doubt. And then he said he's one of the best blocking wide receivers we've ever coached. High praise for Evan Spencer from his head coach Urban Meyer yesterday. 3rd down and 6 at the 24-yard line. Barrett on the run. Barrett into traffic, and the pass incomplete. Well, a lot going on down there. He was aiming for Hireman. Mark Murphy came over to deflect it away, and the Buckeyes are going to have to punt it away.
Yeah, that wasn't very good protection. The right tackle, Darrell Baldwin, he got rushed off his feet. Barrett had to pull the ball out and go outside, and he kept his eyes downfield, but there was no one open.
First pass by Barrett that's actually hit the turf incomplete. He has 3 incompletions. The other 2 were intercepted. So time to punt once more. Win back deep. Cameron Johnston. This will bounce at the 40-yard line and take a roll. Good roll for the Buckeyes. And down at the 28-yard line. This is a game that obviously, if you're an Ohio State fan, if you're Urban Meyer, although he's not worried about it right now, but if you're a Buckeye fan, you're looking at this right now and you're saying this is not what we needed to see in a game like this, where you're expected to overpower Indiana from a style standpoint, or as Jeff Long called it, a game control standpoint in the playoff discussion. This is not one that's going to fit the bill.
Well, they're sitting number 6. They got a couple people that they have to jump to get in there. And the one thing I talked about before that I think up until right now has gone to their credit, they passed the eye test. You watch them play November 8th against Michigan State. Really good football team. You saw them in an unbelievable bad weather last week against Minnesota. Good football team. They look sloppy right now. They got to snap out of it.
From the 28-yard line, first down and 10. Diamond. A wobbler to the sideline, and it's dropped. Dropped at the 33 by Dominique Booth. Already 3 drops today for Indiana wide receivers.
See this play right here, you can see they're playing a soft corner. They're going to give Diamond this throw all the way to the wide field right there, and you can see he doesn't have great arm strength. They're going to let him do that. He's not going to be very good consistently completing that pass.
2nd and 10 at the 28-yard line. Indiana's been on the receiving end of 3 first-half Buckeye turnovers. Here's Coleman trying to get out of the edge, and he will not go anywhere. Adolphus Washington, and a flag in late at the 20-yard line after the aggressive tackle by Washington, who was way into the backfield. Shane Wynn there to offer any advice if needed while the officials discuss.
Personal foul. Horse collar tackle. Defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down. Please reset the game clock to 2 minutes, 20 seconds. 2-2-0.
Big break for the Hoosiers to get this penalty at the end of that run by Coleman. That was a big loss on the play, and instead that penalty against the Buckeyes gives them a first down.
Yeah.
Didn't have his hand inside the pads at all.
That's a bad call.
On the end around the Wynn. Wynn hurdles over the man blocking in front of him. That was the left tackle Jason Spriggs. Raekwon McMillan there to make the stop.
Early in the year, Wynn took a reverse like that, 75 yards for a touchdown against the Spartans of Michigan State. Not this time.
2nd and 4 at the 49. Diamond, good protection to the sideline. Nice catch by Dominique Booth. And the Hoosiers are in Buckeye territory at the 43-yard line. 1:33 remaining until halftime.
This is by far the best that we've seen Xander Diamond perform the quarterback position at Indiana.
From the 43, first down. Tevin Coleman into the arms of Joshua Perry at the 41-yard line, a 2-yard gain. Coming up, our Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report. It is an awfully busy time frame for Big Ten football. 5 games going on, including this one, and the gang will have a complete and total breakdown of everything that's happening in the conference and around the country coming up at the half. From the 42 on 2nd and 9. They want the screen. There's Wynn who ran right into his own blocker, Dimitri Camille. And he's down at the 43-yard line.
Well, he ran right into Camille, but look at the Buckeye defense. They sniffed that out pretty good. They were ready to make the play on that missile screen. Good defense.
Camille, who made the start today for Ralston Evans at right tackle, does not want the assist that he got on the stop. 3rd down and 10 at the 43-yard line. Crowd starting to get into it here in Columbus. A chilly and icy day, at least to start. Play clock down to 5. Diamond has to hurry. Play clock down to 1, and then a timeout taken by Indiana. As that play clock got to 1, Kevin Wilson called time, and the Hoosiers have used their final timeout, the final 17 seconds of the half, when we return. Getting ready to start the second half, a 14-13 lead for Ohio State. Lisa Byington had the chance to hear from both head coaches. What'd you find out, Lisa?
Well, in talking to Kevin Wilson, his biggest message about being down a point to the 6th-ranked team here in the country, we have to continue to play hard and have fun. If we make this game a little bit bigger than what it is, then we're not going to play to what we've been doing here in the first half. And I asked Urban Meyer about the turnovers, in particular the couple of picks in the first half, if that was a quarterback or a receiver issue. He just looked at me and said both. Then I asked him, where is your level of concern? He gave me a non-verbal response, just raised his eyebrows and nodded his head. Kevin?
No coach is ever comfortable with anything in a game, I would guess, as we look at our Quicken Loans quarterback comparison. And Xander Diamond holding his own right now for Indiana.
Well, he's more than holding his own, as I mentioned before. We've had the opportunity to see him in person before. Young guy is getting better, but this is by far the best that he's played. And you know, J.T. Barrett, 2 interceptions, and you look at it that you can't fault him for the one. You know, the others are, you know, are his, you know, and he threw the ball up at miscommunication when he was going to Devin Smith and let the ball float, and that's why Urban Meyer grabbed him as soon as he's coming off the sideline. And
the possessions for Ohio State in this first half started well. The 2 touchdown drives right out of the gate, but then the turnovers hit.
Well, you look at it, you know, here it's a touchdown, almost started too easy. You know, a high-powered offense going against a struggling defense. Momentum, if you have momentum, you got to keep it. If you don't have it, how do you get it? You got to take it away. That fumble was big right there.
And we are ready to get this second half underway here in Columbus. Harris will watch it sail through the end zone for the touchback. Indiana in that first half, able to get things going after the initial punt and the 3-play 1-yard drive, then the touchdown. After the turnover, the field goal. Another turnover led to another field goal. A few punts as well, but this Indiana offense able to get some work done today against a very good Buckeye defense.
Good defense, and go back to Xander Diamont, the quarterback. You got to give him a lot of credit, and he gave them the spark they really needed on that 3rd and long when he pulled the ball down, broke contain. Ohio State lost leverage, put him in scoring situation. Then Coleman took it in, and it was a different ball game.
You know Joey Bosa is going to be fired up to make an impact early in this second half. Let's see how these squads match up as we get this third quarter underway. Tevin Coleman had 50 yards rushing in the first half. First down from the 25, play action. Wynn on the edge, got a block. Wynn spins out of one, tackling down near the 40-yard line. Eli Apple on the stop. Let's check back downstairs with Lisa.
You guys have mentioned how Shane Wynn has grown up in the Cleveland, Ohio area. He has about a dozen family members and friends here to watch him. And really in his final college game to play back here in his home state of Ohio. And they have not seen him even turn down like the fact that he has been challenged being at 5'7". They said that he has always looked up to that challenge. In fact, for instance, if they started to play basketball, they didn't start him on the mini hoop. They started him on the regular hoop. He said that his family has said that they have always challenged him, and he has always responded to being the little guy in a big stage.
And the 3rd player in Indiana history, that little guy, 2,000 receiving yards and 20 receiving touchdowns in his career in a very elite group at Indiana. 2nd and 8 at the 42-yard line. Coleman not finding much room up the middle. It's been a tough go today for Tevin Coleman. He gets a couple before Joshua Perry can make the stop.
Yeah, Joshua Perry, the linebacker that we've called quite often today. Big, strong linebacker, filled that hole, kept his shoulders square, which you have to do against a running back like Coleman.
3rd down and 6 at the 44. Indiana combined 0-35 against their Eastern Division foes, Ohio State and Michigan, since they tied the Buckeyes in 1990. 3rd down and 6. They set up the screen to Wynn. Wynn's got the first down into Ohio State territory at the 45-yard line. Von Bell on the tackle.
You see the chess game that's being played right here. They look to the sideline. Ohio State defense looked to the sideline. They made the check. They went with the fire screen. Ohio State brought the blitz.
Here's Coleman on 1st down. Quick snap, and it did not fool the Buckeyes at all. They were ready, and Coleman will lose a yard back to the 46-yard line. Steve Miller on the tackle for Ohio State. Second down and 11. Indiana's offense, 60th in the nation coming in. They varied their tempo a little bit with Xander Diamont getting more comfortable, not afraid to go faster. Diamont in some trouble, and he's sacked. Michael Bennett drops Xander Diamont, a loss Counts of 3 back to midfield.
Well, you can see that. Watch Xander Diamant. He wants to throw the ball. There's nowhere to go. And credit the Buckeye defense just closing in on him.
3rd down and 15 at midfield. Diamant, pressure coming from Bosa. Got away. On the run. Diamant incomplete. Dominique Booth, the intended receiver. Tough throw for Diamant, having to throw back across his body, and it's 4th down.
Well, this Buckeye defense, 3rd down has been their downfall. You know, today they've got Indiana in a bunch of 3rd and longs and let them out of the hole. Did their job there, and the Buckeye offense is going to go to work.
Toth to punt. Jalen Marshall waiting deep for Ohio State. Took a good roll. Marshall not going to pick it up. He called the fair catch. And that's cannot run with it after scooping it up. So it'll be stopped just shy of the 5-yard line. Ohio State starting deep in their own end, up 1. 14-13, Ohio State by 1. 11:41 remaining in the 3rd quarter. As Ohio State gets ready to start things on offense in the first half, you see the numbers for the Buckeyes, 245 yards, but those 3 turnovers, obviously giant difference in this ball.
Yeah, the turnovers are big, and as I mentioned in the open for Indiana, you got to get 1st downs. They got 8 of them.
Ohio State starting deep in their own end at their 4-yard line. Barrett on the keep. Got a block. And Barrett with a 1st down and some breathing room for Ohio State. How about Ezekiel Elliott? Downfield blocking. And Tom Herman told us yesterday, when he doesn't have the ball, he's the best back I've ever coached.
Yeah, I asked him about Ezekiel Elliott, and he didn't talk about his running. He said Ezekiel Elliott is a violent, that was his word, downfield blocker.
At the 17-yard line on 1st down. Now Elliott gets the chance to run the football. And he picks up a couple to the 19. Antonio Allen, who's got a couple of interceptions today, comes up to make the stop along with T.J. Simmons. 2nd down and 8 at the 19-yard line. Ohio State, especially early, moved the ball at will in that first half. But the turnovers really bogged down this Buckeye offense. 2nd and 8. Elliott trying to get to the outside. Nothing there. Sensing a little confidence growing, Glenn Mason, from this Indiana defense?
Well, you would have to think so. You know, you look at that Indiana defense, coming in, and they've, struggled over the years. 8 of the last 15 games that they've played, they've given up over 500 yards. And, total defense, they're 12th in the league, giving up over 400 yards a game.
3rd down and 8 at the 19-yard line. Good pocket. Barrett with all day to throw, finds an open receiver and a 1st down. Jalen Marshall to the 32-yard line. And what protection for J.T. Barrett.
That wasn't good protection. That was great protection. He's back there. You can look at him make his reads. He went to the left on his first read, then he went back to the right and caught the crosser. Big 1st down.
Barrett's going to run. And J.T. Barrett to the 36-yard line. Check back in with Lisa Byington.
I'll tell you what, watching J.T. Barrett on the sideline, he is so even-keeled. You can't tell if things are going well or poorly for him. In fact, some upperclassmen have told me, left tackle Taylor Decker, receiver Evan Spencer, they have told me that he is so mature for his age, it's just unbelievable. And they were saying those kind of things even before the Michigan State game, which you could argue was his statement game here this year.
2nd and 6 at the 36. Barrett finds Nick Vanette. And Vanette lowers the shoulder. And gets to midfield. Michael Hunter on the receiving end of that shoulder from Big Nick Vanette.
Well, when they dial up the right play, and let's remember that most of these plays, Tom Herman sitting up in the press box, he's looking over, he signals the play. When he dials up the right one, there's no hesitation on J.T. Barrett. Right on the money.
First down and 10 at the 49 of Indiana. Ohio State looking for their third consecutive division title with a win here today. They'll lock it up ahead of the showdown with Michigan next week. The cutback by Elliott and caught from behind as he got into the hole. Michael Hunter, who was trailing on the play, able to get him around the ankles.
Well, you'll see it. They start it one way, little counter play. Zeke Elliott puts his foot in the ground, goes back to the right, following the pulling lineman, but just lost his footing.
Impressive march so far for Ohio State. This started at their 4-yard line. Barrett with time again. Lots of time. Barrett airing it deep. The pass deflected away. Michael Hunter on the coverage. The intended receiver was Corey Smith, and Hunter makes a fine play to break up the big strike.
Yeah, and the roar of the crowd, they think it's pass interference. Great protection again. Goes for the home run. He looked like he had his left hand. Watch it right here. I would say that's pass interference. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I don't have a problem with the right arm. It's the left arm.
Third down and 8. At the 47 after the incompletion. Pressure coming. Barrett's in trouble. Got away. And Barrett looking deep for Marshall. He just missed it in the end zone. J.T. Barrett got away from Tigre Scales, bought himself some time, and nearly had a big strike to Marshall.
Yeah, they bring the blitz, and it works. Scales makes the miss. Barrett keeps his eyes downfield, finds a wide open receiver, just overthrows him.
Johnston will punt. Shane Wynn back deep at the 10-yard line. Wynn will call for the fair catch, and he makes it at the 9-yard line. Indiana will start deep in their own end after the punt from Johnston. A 1-point Buckeye lead. Next on BTN, the Wolverines welcome Maryland to the Big House in an Eastern Division clash. Coverage starts at 3:30 Eastern, presented by John Deere on BTN and BTN to go. Then tonight, the Hoosiers host Lamar, followed by the third-ranked Badgers squaring off with Boise State. Coverage starts at 8 Eastern, presented by Aprilaire on BTN and BTN to go. It is a super Saturday of sports here on BTN. Kevin Kugler alongside Glenn Mason, Lisa Byington on the field. Our entire BTN crew here in now sunny Columbus, Ohio, where Indiana starts first down and 10 at their own 10-yard line. And Tevin Coleman with some running room. Tevin Coleman down the sideline. Coleman, one man to beat. Tevin Coleman's going to go 90 yards, and Indiana takes the lead over Ohio State. Tevin Coleman, 90 yards down the sideline. And Indiana on top, a career long for Tevin Coleman. There is a flag down. The officials are conferring. Came in very late. Here's the word.
Delay game for sideline interference on Indiana after the play. 5-yard penalty. Can be enforced on the kickoff.
So a little exuberance on the Indiana sideline. Hardly can blame him when Tevin Coleman takes it 90 yards for a touchdown.
Well, we talked about in the open, Tevin Coleman, second leading rusher in the country, and he is a big play machine. And Luke Fickell, defensive coordinator, says you let down for a second, he's got the ability to take it the distance. And you saw the great speed that big running back has.
Tevin Coleman now over 1,000 yards on the road running the football this year. And Tevin Coleman has sent this crowd at Ohio Stadium into silence.
I think more like shock.
Griffin Oaks on for the extra point after the mark-off from the sideline warning and the delay of game call. And the extra point is good for Griffin Oaks, and Indiana has a 20-14 lead. Tevin Coleman has now broken Indiana's single-season rushing record on this 90-yard touchdown run.
Well, just watch the hole. You see the defensive end play inside, and then they seal the linebacker scraping to the outside, and there's no one there. Awful good job right there. Sealing the linebacker. Turn the ball back inside. Apple turned the ball back inside, but there's no one filling the hole. Joshua Perry ran around the block inside, and then Coleman just outran the rest of the people. That big fella can run.
Touchdown, Indiana.
90 yards and nobody laid a glove on him. And Tevin Coleman has given Indiana a 20-14 lead here in Columbus. Third straight game that Ohio State has allowed an individual rusher to go over 100 yards. Coleman 19 carries, 143 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kickoff. Samuel is going to take a knee, and the touchback for Ohio State. One more look at this run.
Well, you can see that Steve Miller played inside and Apple was outside, and Joshua Perry ran inside, got pinned by the pulling lineman, and there was just no one to fill the gap, and that's why he wasn't touched.
Now, there are some that would probably be wondering, should they have gone for 2 to make it a full touchdown lead? But, of course, after the 5-yard penalty, maybe that changed the plans if they'd even thought about it.
Well, you know, I'm one of those guys that adheres to the theory, don't go for 2 too early. You know, you just don't know what's going to happen later in the game, and still early in this game.
At the 25 on first down, Spencer in motion, the toss to Smith. Smith dropped near the 27-yard line. Bobby Richardson on the tackle. Tevin Coleman didn't even look like he's breathing that hard after 90 yards on the ground on that carry. 1,821 yards this year, breaking Vaughn Dunbar's single season record. And a new school record holder, Tevin Coleman. What a special season he's had.
Yeah, when they recruited him at Tinley Park, I'm not sure they knew what they had, but he's a good one.
Second down and 8. Barrett on the keep. And Barrett to the 29-yard line. Zach Shaw on the tackle, and the crowd getting a little restless now. We're hearing them, but it is not a lot of joy coming from this Buckeye crowd.
Well, you think about this Buckeye offense at over 500 yards a game. They're not used to seeing this type of performance. They're expecting big plays, flashy plays, up-tempo plays, and they're not getting it right now.
Third down and 6 at the 29. Barrett over the middle, and a sliding catch at the 42-yard line by Jeff Hireman. First down for Ohio State.
We talked to Tom Herman about this 3-4 defense that Indiana plays and the problems, and he said it's more of a schematic problem. Don't see it a lot. You don't know where the pressure's coming from. They did a good job of protecting there, and he put the ball right on the money.
Now, new set of downs for J.T. Barrett and the Buckeyes. Trailing for the first time, 20-14. Well, tough snap to handle. Barrett and Ohio State fortunate to get it back. T. Gray Scales on the tackle. No gain on the play.
That's the only thing J.T. Barrett could do there. It was a bad snap, tough snap to handle like you mentioned. And the only thing he could do is take a bad situation and make it worse. Just make the best of it. Try to get it back to the line of scrimmage. Nothing seems to be going right for the Buckeyes right now.
3 first-half turnovers. That led directly to Indiana points. A long Tevin Coleman run has given the Hoosiers the lead. Here's Elliott on the edge, and Ezekiel Elliott out here midfield. That's how they started this game, getting their playmakers on either sideline in space.
Well, if you're jammed up in the middle, you want to get the ball in the perimeter. And as I mentioned before, those little swing passes like that are nothing more than perimeter runs. And that was well executed because you can see the ball was thrown forward. It was thrown in front of Ezekiel Elliott. And when he caught it, he was gaining ground downfield. Good execution.
3rd down and 3 at the 49-yard line. Keep, and Barrett's not going to get there. No gain on the play for J.T. Barrett. Tigre scales on the tackle, and the Indiana defense rises up again.
Well, this is a run the whole way, and you'll see the tight end come and try to block the defensive end, which he does. Just an inside run, inside zone play by Barrett, but there's nowhere to go.
Cameron Johnston and the punt team back out on the field. Shane Wynn, the deep man for Indiana. Line drive punt over Wynn's head, and it's going to die. Beautifully executed by Cameron Johnston. It stuck and died at the 1-yard line.
Timeout on the field.
And Indiana buried deep in their own end after a huge special teams play by Cameron Johnston. When Ohio State needed something, they turned to their punter. And Johnston hitting Indiana back deep at their own 1. Tevin Coleman's 90-yard touchdown run has changed the complexion of this game and set an upset alert across the nation. Indiana leading Ohio State 20-14 with 3:25 to play in the 3rd. But a big special teams play for Ohio State as Indiana pinned just inside their 1-yard line. That's where the Hoosiers are going to start first down. They'll start in the gun with Devine Redding, the running back. Diamont from his own end zone, airing it for Wynn, and it's incomplete. 2nd down as we go downstairs to Lisa Byington.
It'll be interesting to see how Ohio State's defense responds. I was expecting a little more frustration here from the players. Really, the passion was coming from the Ohio State coaches on the defensive side. The players really just looked stunned, and the coaches were telling them, hey, we got to grow up. We can't wait for anyone else to make it happen. They were demanding to see the hunger in their eyes here in this series.
2nd down and 10. 1-yard line. Fumbled snap. Diamant's in trouble. Throws deflected and incomplete. Ricky Jones had it in his hands and he couldn't squeeze it. Good play by Diamant, though, to avoid big trouble.
Yeah, it was a good play, but he lucked out. He should have taken the ball and thrown it way out of bounds. As you saw, that ricocheted off the receiver's hands, and if both defensive backs weren't on the same level, that would have been picked up for a touchdown.
3rd down and 10 at the 1. State's crowd now. The Buckeye faithful really roaring. Loudest they've been today. Diamant, nobody there to hand it to, and Xander Diamant to the 4-yard line. Just a 3-yard pickup on the play. Steve Miller on the tackle. That was confusion and ugliness, and Indiana will punt.
Yeah, Ohio State fortunate. They had a jump in the middle of the line there, but he got back in time, and sure don't want to give him a free 5 yards down here. Not a lot of room to punt this ball out.
Eric Toth, you see him right back against the back line of the end zone. Jalen Marshall near midfield. Ohio State sets up the return. Marshall at the 47 of Ohio State with running room. Marshall to the 45 and into the clear. Marshall breaks the tackle. He's gone. Jalen Marshall with a touchdown. Special teams pinned Indiana deep, and then the return game gets Ohio State back even.
Well, I was going to say that. Cameron Johnson put the wedge down there on the 1-yard line. The defense did their job, and then Jalen Marshall returns it for a touchdown.
Extra point up and good, and Ohio State back on top, 21-20 with 2:20 to play in the third.
Let's not forget Jalen Marshall muffed a punt against Minnesota last week for a turnover that led to a touchdown for Minnesota. Well, he redeemed himself right here. Great return.
First punt return for a touchdown for Ohio State since 2012 against Wisconsin. What a time for it for Jalen Marshall and Ohio State.
Yeah, you know, he fumbled that punt, muffed that punt against Minnesota. He came back right from the game and started catching punts out in the snow because he was so upset with himself and make up for it. And I guess that was practice well spent, huh?
Urban Meyer's special teams come up with another big play. And now the kickoff. Deep kick through the end zone. And a touchback. Ohio State 6th in the rankings this week in the college football playoff. I don't know that style points matter or not to the committee. It's a committee of a wide and varied group that are making these decisions, but certainly Ohio State came into this thinking they wanted a convincing win to have a chance to move up perhaps past idle TCU and even into the discussion for the top 4.
Well, you think it's got it. They're human. You know, we're all influenced by, you know, not only by what we see, but what we read. And most people expected Ohio State just to roll over Indiana. It hasn't happened yet. We got to get going.
For the first time today, D'Angelo Roberts in at running back for Indiana. And Roberts gets the carry. Roberts in trouble and he's dropped. Darren Lee in the backfield with the tackle. And a little extra energy now on that Buckeye defensive side.
You call it energy, I call it momentum. It all started with the punt down to the 1-yard line. Then Jalen Marshall. Now it's up to the Buckeye defense to keep that momentum.
And the crowd back into it as well here in Columbus. 2nd down and 12, back at the 23-yard line. Diamont incomplete. Looking for Michael Cooper, the tight end, and now 3rd and 12.
You can see play action, and he throws it out there, and he better be careful because Raekwon McMillan, the freshman linebacker, was flashing underneath it. You talk about a young linebacker that these Buckeye coaches are really pleased with, Raekwon McMillan.
3rd down and 12 at the 23. Diamont pass deflected and incomplete. Buckeye defense does its job. Again, pitching the 3 and out. And Indiana going to have to punt it away after the deflection by Washington.
The power of big momentum. If you got it, you got to keep it. Right now, the Buckeyes got it.
Look out. Jalen Marshall back deep again. Eric Toth to punt. Flag down.
That'll be against Indiana procedure.
False start. Offense. Number 42. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
David Cooper Most penalized team in the Big Ten, but they've been pretty good today in the penalty department. That one costs them 5, and now Marshall inches up a little bit to the 37-yard line.
Yeah, they should end up, the Buckeyes should end up with, at the very least, awful good field position here.
Toth's punt, good punt. And gets a good roll for Indiana inside the 25-yard line. Eric Toth delivering on a strong punt. And Ohio State will start at the 24, first down and 10. 58-yard punt for Toth. 1:36 to go in the third. Kevin Wilson's team has seen the momentum shift the opposite way now. Ohio State with momentum thanks to defense and special teams. Let's see how it translates to offense here.
Yeah, that's you know, Urban Meyer knows all about that momentum. He wants to keep it going. He wants a big play out of this offense right now.
Ironman in motion on first down. Elliott the carry, and Elliott breaks one tackle and down to the 27-yard line. Bobby Richardson had him, and then Elliott able to fight through that stop. Pickup of 3 on the play for Ezekiel Elliott. Indiana has gone a long time without tasting victory against the Buckeyes. It came in 1988, 21-game winless streak in the series. On second down, Barrett on the move, hit as he got rid of it, and the pass is incomplete. Barrett had that pressure coming from Greg Gooch, and it's third down.
Well, they got the pressure. They got the blitz coming from the backside. He's rolling away from it. Inside penetration, gets the hit after he throws the ball. Not sure he just wasn't throwing it away, though.
Third down and 7. Pressure. Barrett holds on wide open at midfield. Down the sideline, Devin Smith. Big play for the Buckeye offense on third down to the 40-yard line. Tim Bennett finally caught up with Devin Smith.
This is the growth of J.T. Barrett. He signals the tight end 81 who is split out, Nick Bennett, to come on in to block the rush because he read the blitz coming. They picked it up, delivered the money, big play.
33-yard pickup, and Tim Bennett still down on one knee at the 32-yard line. J.T. Barrett on that pass has broken the Buckeye record for total offense in one season. Braxton Miller's record has fallen. 3,345 total yards this year for J.T. Barrett. His team in a fight here in the third. 44 seconds to go, and Ohio State up by 1 as Bennett makes his way to the sideline. Looks like Tim Bennett will be okay. But Ohio State seeing a complete momentum shift right now. Defense, special teams sparked it. The offense with a big play to move into Indiana territory at the 40-yard line. Marshall at the 25, the intended receiver.
That's a pass that young man normally hits about 99 out of 100 times. Play action. Jalen Marshall wide open. No pressure.
Ironman in motion on second down. Barrett on the keep. Barrett to the edge. J.T. Barrett driven down by Tim Bennett back on the field. Short of the first down. 8-yard pickup for J.T. Barrett. Third down and 3. Barrett gets the snap before the end of the quarter. To the air. Ironman wide open. First down. Ironman freshman, as he takes it to the 20-yard line. Tim Bennett on the tackle, and the third quarter comes to a close.
That's the same play they used down on the goal line on fourth down to go for the score. Just Hireman right out in the flat, wide open.
Tevin Coleman's 90-yard touchdown run gave Indiana the lead. It was a short-lived lead, though. The punt return by Marshall puts Ohio State back on top at the end of 3. Start of the fourth quarter here in Columbus. Ohio State with a 21-20 lead, but driving as we start the fourth quarter. Kevin Kugler, Glenn Mason, Lisa Byington on the field. I know you've been there many times. Mirror Lake.
Mirror Lake, and there's a little ice on Mirror Lake today.
A little ice everywhere today after the freezing rain overnight. Luckily, that has disappeared. Sun shining, turned into a nice but cool afternoon. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line for J.T. Barrett and the Buckeye offense. That's Marshall in motion. And a flag is thrown. That'll be motion against Ohio State.
False start. Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
It's Pat Elflein.
Yeah, he's played a lot of football. They're not going to be very happy about that right there, but got to sit in there, big fella. He just jumped this a little bit too soon.
First down and 15 at the 25. Ezekiel Elliott on the swing. Got a block. Elliott inside the 15-yard line. Let's go to Chicago and get a T-Mobile studio update.
Well, Kevin, big battle in the West. The Huskers up by 10 on Minnesota. David Cobb banged up, so Roderick Williams in there. He takes it 19 yards for the touchdown, 24-21.
Well, Dave, a battle in the West for sure between those two teams in Lincoln as Tigray Scales comes in to make the stop on Ezekiel Elliott. And a third down coming up here for Ohio State. Ezekiel Elliott now over 100 yards. 6th time in his career, 5th time this year, and Elliott burrows towards the right side, and he's got the first down to the 8-yard line. Bobby Richardson on the tackle.
We talked to Tom Herman the other day about the problems that Ohio State's had in the red zone, and he says, yeah, he said, well, we're getting better. We were really bad at the beginning of the year, but as we've progressed, we're not near where we want to be because we want touchdowns all the time inside the red zone, and we've been struggling.
First and goal at the 8-yard line. Play clock at 3. Ezekiel Elliott down to the 6. 2nd down and goal for Ohio State. Bobby Richardson and Antonio Allen, two names you've heard a lot today in there on the stop.
Yeah, they'd really like to run the ball in the red zone like most people. They operate out of the shotgun. People are overplaying the run. As Tom Herman said, we might have to resort to throwing the ball down here more than we like.
Marshall in motion, gets it. Marshall on the sweep, breaks the tackle, touchdown, Jalen Marshall.
Well, Marshall learned his lesson against Minnesota. He muffed a punt. He returned one for a touchdown today. That's the play that he fumbled down in the red zone last week and turned it over in the end zone. And not today. He's got it well secured, high and tight. Lowers his shoulder. Touchdown.
Jalen Marshall on the punt return. Jalen Marshall on the touchdown catch. Technically a pass on the shovel from J.T. Barrett to Jalen Marshall. And Jalen Marshall on the receiving end of that little toss. Takes it all the way in for 6. And Ohio State now up by 8.
It was just one of those moments in time that you really don't forget.
We were an integral part of reestablishing Ohio State as a dominant program in this country.
A new episode of Big Ten Elite spotlighting the 1996 11-1 Ohio State football team airs Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. And you'll hear interviews and see interviews from guys like Stanley Jackson, Andy Katzenmoyer, Luke Fickell, and John Cooper, former Ohio State coach. You and I saw him here at the stadium at halftime.
Yeah, we had a little visit with him. Always nice to see John. Besides being an outstanding coach, he's a fine gentleman, and I've known him a long time. Even I would date back to him when he was assistant at Kentucky, recruiting against him.
How'd he do against you? Never won any of those battles, did he?
Never.
Never. As far as he knows. And the knee will be taken for the touchback by Harris. And let's look back as to how this one unfolded. An early start for Ohio State on the run from Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, a couple swing passes, give it to Ezekiel Elliott right up the middle, fine blocking, and then the mishaps happen, thrown out to Thomas, 2 steps, and he fumbles it. And then play of the game so far for Indiana, Tevin Coleman, good blocking, and this guy can run. Watch Grant. Grant can't catch him. Big fella. Jalen Marshall, this is what got momentum back. He messed up last week, not this week. Good blocking. Takes it all the way to the house.
That gave Ohio State the lead back. Then Marshall scoring on the touchdown pass, the shovel pass from J.T. Barrett. Back to work again goes Tevin Coleman. And Coleman out across the 30 to the 31. A pickup of 6. Tyvis Powell on the tackle for Ohio State. That touchdown pass, incidentally, by Barrett, gives him Troy Smith's record all alone. That record now gone. J.T. Barrett, the single season touchdown passing record in Ohio State history, with 2 today passing Troy Smith. 2nd and 4 at the 31. Coleman driving and then driven back by Adolphus Washington. 32-yard line is where Xander Diamont and this Indiana offense will work. And Diamont, such a young quarterback, thrust into a situation that he could not have been expecting when he arrived this year at Indiana.
Not only was he not expecting it, Kevin Wilson wasn't expecting it.
Indiana 1 for their last 4 on 3rd down, a 3rd and 3. Coleman up the middle, going nowhere. Joshua Perry among others. The 12th tackle for Perry, and that will bring up 4th down.
When you have a running back like Tevin Coleman, you need a linebacker like Joshua Perry to fill that hole. Shoulder square, wrap him up, keep those legs driving, and knock him on back. Good defense.
And the momentum clearly now on the side of the Buckeyes. As the punt team on again, Eric Toth to punt it away to Jalen Marshall. That one almost blocked. Marshall at the 23-yard line with the fair catch. And the Buckeyes offense heads back onto the field. 11:20 remaining in the 4th. How close was this? Toth just got rid of it. Almost blocked by Washington.
Football on BTN is brought to you by State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today. And by John Deere Gator Utility Vehicles. Own a special edition Midnight Black Gator. Visit your dealer today before they're gone.
Jalen Marshall with the punt return, then later a touchdown catch to give Ohio State a 28-20 lead. He's the first Ohio State player with a touchdown catch and a punt return for a touchdown since Brian Hartline did it against Kent State in October of 2007. From the 23 on 1st down, Barrett with the key, and Barrett picks up 3 to the 26-yard line. 28-20 is the lead. 11:05 to go in the 4th quarter, and Ohio State, they want to keep the foot on the gas now to try to get a little more control of this game in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, they want to keep it going. They've got Noah Brown in at the slot receiver now. He's a freshman, 6'1", 240, slot receiver from Sparta, New Jersey.
2nd down and 7. Ezekiel Elliott on the fake. Barrett with the key to J.T. Barrett. Excellent fake. all the way out to the 38-yard line. Antonio Allen on the tackle for Indiana.
You can say that again. Excellent fake by the quarterback. Lined it in there, and Ezekiel Elliott, he had that defense fooled. Look at, watch him run it in there, taking up his body. He's getting tackled, and Barrett's around the corner. And, you know, if you're going to play wide receiver here at Ohio State, you're going to be a blocker also. You can see that.
First down and 10. Barrett to the air. Over the middle. Hireman is there. Hireman all the way down to the Indiana 30-yard line. Antonio Allen on the stop, but Hireman's had a big day today, and Jeff Hireman goes 22 yards and a first down.
What a weapon Jeff Hireman is. You know, you talk about personnel packages and formations. He lines up tight end. He lines up at wing. We've seen him at receiver just like right here. And he's a good route catcher. And you throw him the ball, his hands touch it, he's going to catch it.
32-yard gain for Jeff Hireman through the air. On first and 10 at the 30-yard line. Motion by Samuel. Barrett steps away from the rush. Now he's going to run. And J.T. Barrett at the 24-yard line. Kyle Kennedy covers him up there. Second down and 4 for the Buckeyes.
Well, you know, Tom Herman's been looking for a home run throw all day. You know, with the type of receivers he has, especially Devin Smith, he normally gets, you know, one a game. They motioned in, they went to the play action, and nothing was open downfield, and Barrett did the only thing he could, pull it down and scramble.
Second and 4. Barrett going to have to scramble again. Hit as he throws for the end zone. The pass incomplete. He saw the net just as he was about ready to take off, and then as he was about ready to get hit and dropped, he got rid of it, and it's third down.
Yeah, he does an excellent job of keeping his eyes downfield. Play action again, nothing there. Look at his eyes downfield, and I think, because if the net was wide open, that defender just getting a hold of his heel probably threw off his throw.
Third down and 4 at the Hoosier 24-yard line. The swing to Elliott, well defended by Indiana. Tim Bennett closed quickly on Ezekiel Elliott, who's a little slow to get up at the 29-yard line, and Elliott limping and favoring that right side. He is in some pain right now.
Yeah, it looked like it opened right up, but you got to credit number 24, Tim Bennett, the senior from Columbus, Georgia, who's really played a whale of a game. He closes fast, and there was really nothing there.
46-yard field goal try for Sean Nurnberger. And this kick is not going to be good. Wide to the left side, and Indiana still very much alive. 28-20. Ohio State's lead still 8 after the miss from Sean Nurnberger. Kevin Wilson very happy about the results of that one. His defense came up, got the stop, and now with 8:12 to go, the offense back to work once more.
Yeah, sometimes it's, you can't explain it. Everything goes right some days, everything goes wrong some days.
Our Duluth Trading hardest working player, Tevin Coleman, 22 carries, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1,828 yards rushing this season. Made more impressive by the fact that everybody knows he's getting the football, and he's still been able to get yardage. Here's Coleman on first down, and Tevin Coleman across the 30 to the 32. He picks up 3 on first down.
Tevin Coleman, you'd have to say, as good as advertised.
307 yards a week ago at Rutgers was the most by any Big Ten player on the road since 2002 when Larry Johnson did it at Indiana. 153 yards today on 23 carries for Tevin Coleman. Second down and 7 at the 32. Coleman again has a little bit of a crease, and Coleman met and driven back at the 36 by Curtis Grant. Tevin Coleman entering play today. Those are where he ranked nationally, second in rush yards per game and in scrimmage yards per game. And how about 7.8 yards per carry? You had a lot of great running backs in your coaching days. I think you could have found room for Tevin Coleman.
Oh, yeah. He'd fit right in there. And competition makes everybody better.
3rd down and 3 at the 36-yard line. Play action, Diamont, and he could not hit Jordan Fuchs. Credit the rush from Ohio State for throwing off the timing on the pass from Diamont. And there's an injured lineman down on the field. It's Jason Spriggs, the left tackle, who's still down for Indiana.
Yeah, credit the rush for that errant throw, but number 43, Darren Lee, the linebacker for Ohio State, was in perfect position to defend that play. He wouldn't have gained an inch after he caught it.
Diamont, who finished so strong in the first half. He was 8 of 13 to close the half in the first half, but in the second half just 2 for 8, and he's 0 for his last 6. So Ohio State's really turned it up. And there's Spriggs. And then down he goes. Boy, not even any contact there. My goodness.
The way he's up on a knee with his legs straight, it's hard to tell what's wrong with him.
It's his 33rd career start this afternoon. A guy who has been a stalwart in that Indiana lineup. And there's Spriggs up and making his way to the bench. Good to see, but well, you wonder what happened with Jason Spriggs. Hopefully he'll be okay. Watch it one more time to the left of your screen.
Right there, 78, standing there.
So the punt team on for Indiana. Eric Toth to punt to Jalen Marshall. Short punt this time. Take a little bit of an Indiana roll and trickle down inside the 20-yard line. Turned out to be a decent punt. Buckeyes are going to start at their 17 with 6:45 to play. Don't forget, coming up next, the Wolverines and the Terrapins in the Big House. It's an Eastern Division clash that starts at 3:30 Eastern, presented by John Deere on BTN and BTN to go. Then tonight, Super Saturday continues as the Hoosiers host Lamar on the hard court. Then the Badgers and Boise State. Coverage starts at 8 Eastern, presented by April Air on BTN and BTN to go. From the 17-yard line, Ohio State up 8 with 6:45 to play here in the fourth. On first down, Elliott slipped as he tried to make his cut and picks up 1.5 yards. TJ Simmons there to cover him up.
Well, Ohio State always putting someone in motion. Not only does it cause confusion to the defense, but it allows Tom Herman sitting up the press box to see how everything is played. See if he wants to go inside, outside, play action pass.
Second down and 9 at the 18-yard line. On the swing, Ezekiel Elliott. Good open field tackle by Murphy. Mark Murphy, who's a terrific in the classroom, an academic All-American in 2013, the 9th ever at Indiana, but he's also a pretty good player on the field as well, and a nice open field tackle.
And his dad was a pretty good player too for the Packers in their Hall of Fame up there, and did a nice job. He became the third guy that you can't account for out there. Made a nice tackle.
Third down and 8 for the Buckeyes. Barrett. Nobody open, finds Elliott on the sideline. And Ezekiel Elliott leaping for the first down. What a lunge by Elliott at the end. Tim Bennett on the tackle. And the Buckeyes move the chains.
Well, you see here by J.T. Barrett, that's something you can't coach. It's poise in the pocket. There is no pressure. He didn't see any plays. He could just pull the ball down the run, so he just scanned the field, found Ezekiel Elliott wide open, put the ball in the money, first down.
at the 33-yard line. Barrett to the air. Open and incomplete. He had Marshall running free, couldn't hit it. And it's second down. You, sir, I'm going to put you in the college football playoff committee room for a moment, Glenn Mason. You look at this, say it ends 28-20. Is this going to do significant damage to Ohio State's chances of moving into the top 4?
Well, I think it got to be a fair across the board. You know, one of the teams that I haven't been impressed playing with as a team in the top 4 is Florida State. You know, they've been falling behind by 17 points about every game, inferior opponents, and coming on to win. So a win's a win, and I'm going to put more credibility with the good games that I've seen them play.
Timeout taken by Ohio State. The good thing for Ohio State is they still have at least one more chance to make a good impression. That's coming up. But right now, 28-20 at a timeout. Second down and 10 for the Buckeyes. 4:53 remaining in the fourth, and Ohio State up by 8, 28-20. Remaining schedules for the college football playoff contenders. Ohio State's got Michigan, and if they win here, they've got a date with perhaps Wisconsin, perhaps Minnesota. And a sack of Barrett back at the 25-yard line by T.J. Simmons. And now a timeout's going to be utilized by Indiana. So Kevin Wilson uses his first timeout. 2 remaining for the Indiana head man.
Well, you look at it, you know, right here, and they just bring a late blitz. It wasn't an immediate blitz, but Simmons came late from the blind side of the quarterback and made the play. I'm not sure it was a blitz by Simmons. I think he just saw the hole open up in front of him, and he thought, what the heck? I've been watching him stand back there and picking us apart. I'm just going to rush late and see what I can do.
Came up with the sack against an offensive line that has gotten progressively better as this season goes along. Remember, after the first couple of games, that Virginia Tech game specifically, where they had 7 sacks, there were a lot of concerns about this offensive line, but just 12 sacks allowed over the last 8 games coming into play today.
Only one returning starter from that offensive line last year, Taylor Decker, moved from right tackle to left tackle, become the leader of this group, and they've really improved from game 1 to right now.
Third down and 18 at the 25. Barrett under pressure again. The pass deflected and incomplete. Bobby Richardson got the deflection on the Barrett pass, and on 4th down, the punt team will come back on for Ohio State.
They were fortunate there. They were going with the screen. He had pressure, and he turned and looked to throw the ball, and I guess he didn't see the big fella right there. They got his hand up. If he would have been able to catch it, it would have been a pick 6.
Jay Harris now back deep, awaiting the punt from Cameron Johnston. Johnston skies this one, driving Harris back all the way to the 17-yard line, where he calls and makes the fair catch. What a punt again by Johnston, who has been tremendous today for Ohio State. That one 58 yards. And at the 17 is where Xander Diamont and Indiana will start with 4:34 to play, down 8.
A punt like that, when you're standing on the sideline, you say, wow, man, that's a weapon there.
Not only did it have the distance, it had the hang time as well. Let's check in downstairs with Lisa.
Left tackle Jason Spriggs back in there. Now, Indiana's medical staff won't give me any injury update, but in my observation, they didn't tend to him wrong. It looked like an upper body injury. They were testing the range of motion with his neck and the strength of his arms when he was briefly out.
They're happy to have him back as Diamont going to the air. It's intercepted. Picked off by Powell. Powell inside the 20 and down to the 15. Huge mistake by the freshman Diamont. And Powell with his 3rd interception of the year.
It's what, 17th interception on the year for the Buckeyes. Big mistake by Xander Diamont. Pocket was collapsing around him. He had all the room in the world to just pull the ball and run right up the field. Threw the ball up for grabs, and it was picked off. Let's just watch him right here. Not there. He goes to run. He could have ran. He had a lead blocker in front of him. He threw it right to him.
First turnover of the day for Indiana, and it sets Ohio State up at the Hoosier 15. Looking to finish this one off here.
Nobody can forget the interception that Tyvis Powell had last year in the Michigan game on the two-point conversion.
From the 15-yard line, first down. And a timeout taken by Ohio State.
Timeout, Ohio State. Their second of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
So Ohio State with the timeout, 4:25 to go. Of course, the Buckeyes next week with Michigan trying to win this East Division today and punch their ticket to Indianapolis. The schedule, and when we talked with Urban Meyer yesterday, he pointed out 3 games that were keys that he thought have really made the statement for the Buckeyes to be involved at the end of the year in the discussion for the playoffs.
Yeah, he talked about that game against Penn State on the road, Illinois at home, but then Michigan State on the road, Minnesota, good Minnesota team on the road in bad conditions, and they talked about what a resilient team he has to be able to do that in those conditions and win all 3 of those games.
He said, assistant Larry Johnson said it's the most resilient team he's ever been around. At the 15 on first down, Barrett lofting for the end zone. What a catch! A one-handed stab by Jalen Marshall. And the Marshall play has come through in the second half. And Ohio State closing in on a division title.
Here you go right here. Jalen Marshall put a heck of a move on Bennett. He's wide open. All I need is one hand to catch it. You hit one hand, I'll catch it. Touchdown.
Extra point is good. And Jalen Marshall, you think he responded to some disappointment last week at Minnesota? 3 touchdowns today, all in this second half, as Ohio State had to come from behind and now leads it 35-20.
Let's watch it right here. Watch Jalen Marshall right there. Now watch him come off. And watch the move that he puts on Bennett. Stutters his feet, makes a move to the outside, leaves him in his track, falls on, hits his one hand right on the money, touchdown. Hard to cover a receiver like Jalen Marshall one-on-one without any help, especially when you let him run off the football like that.
Just a spectacular catch by Jalen Marshall. A highlight play to be sure for the Buckeyes as they close in on their 3rd consecutive division title. Now some breathing room for Ohio State. Jones and Harris back deep for Indiana. It didn't take long for the Buckeyes to cash in on the first Indiana turnover of the day. Harris at the 3. Harris in trouble. Harris down at the 16-yard line. Great coverage downfield for Ohio State. Vaughn Bell leading the way. And now with 4:15 to go, Indiana down 15 on the road. And a steep hill has become much more so now for Xander Diamant in this Indiana offense.
Well, you know, I keep talking about the momentum, but you can just see how it ebbs and flows during a game, and definitely with Ohio State right now. And Diamant's under a lot of pressure. They need to make something happen fast to get back in this ball game, and if they don't watch out, they'll turn the ball over again.
From the 15 on first down, Tevin Coleman, great catch, but Bell a better play. That was a fingertip grab by Coleman, and Vaughn Bell, who just made the play a moment ago on the kickoff. Vaughn Bell with the tackle. Of you who have been watching Michigan State defeat Rutgers, Kevin Kugler, Glenn Mason, Lisa Byington in Columbus, Ohio, where it hasn't been easy, but the Ohio State Buckeyes appear to have grabbed firm control in this ball game. Indiana took the lead in the second half on a 90-yard touchdown run from Tevin Coleman. But since that time, 21 straight for Ohio State and a 35-20 lead. And all three of those touchdowns in the comeback scored by Jalen Marshall. Third down and 12 for Indiana. Diamont under pressure again. Diamont is sacked. Joshua Perry, what a day he has had. The sack for Perry, and it's fourth down.
Well, Luke Fickell, he dialed up both linebackers crisscrossing, going right up the middle, and they couldn't pick him up. They got him on the run, and as we talked about before, for a big guy, Joshua Perry can really run. Big play by Joshua Perry. Pride of Olentangy High School.
Since that 90-yard touchdown, May, 6 straight possessions for Indiana, 3 and out or turnover on everyone, and now the pressure coming in on Toth. He gets rid of that punt. And it'll bounce to the 47-yard line and out of bounds. Jalen Marshall, what a performance he has had today. He is our John Deere Gator. Game-changing performance. And that punt return started at Glen Mason.
Well, it did. You know, we talked about the momentum I keep talking about, but you got to get it back. You got to do something, and you could just feel this whole game change on that punt return.
Our John Deere Gator game-changing performance. He changed it in a big way. The first Ohio State player to have 2 touchdown catches and a punt return for a touchdown in the same game since David Boston did it against Indiana on the road in 1998. And here he goes again. Jalen Marshall down the sideline. Touchdown number 4 in the second half for Jalen Marshall.
Well, we talked about with Urban Meyer on Friday about Jalen Marshall muffing that punt in Minnesota, him coming right back, going out in the snow and catching punts, and he felt bad, and he thought if they would have lost that game up in Minnesota, it would have been his fault, and didn't want it to happen again, and maybe he should go out and practice catching punts again tonight. It's working good for him.
Extra point is good. And it has been all Jalen Marshall. 4 touchdowns today in the second half.
What were you saying about style points?
There they are.
Yeah, they're getting dressed up now, aren't they? Here we go, that little inside flip, and Zeke Elliott leaving the way, and you give this big fella room to run. They ain't going to catch him, I can tell you that.
Jalen Marshall turning this one around for the Buckeyes, and you look at this score at the end of the day after this touchdown, and you'll say, oh, 42-20. Ohio State. It's a piece of cake. It was a 20-14 Indiana lead after the 90-yard Tevin Coleman touchdown run, and then Jalen Marshall said, I got this. I'll take it. I'll score 4 touchdowns, and we'll clinch the Big Ten East.
Jalen Marshall out of Middletown, Ohio, and a lot of good players that come out of there. Chris Carter's from Middletown. Just to name,
just say one. That's a good example.
That's where the run and shoot was developed by Tiger Ellison, by the way. Just a little bit of history for the older folks.
Ricky Jones on the return. And Jones fights his way to the 29-yard line. Von Bell again on the tackle for Ohio State. So the Buckeyes got it going with a special teams play. Then the defense started to flex its formidable muscle. Now the offense adding to it. And it all adds up to a 42-20 lead with 2:42 to play.
With this Ohio State team, with the talent they have, when it happens fast.
Tevin Coleman back there in the backfield with Xander Diamont. Coleman. Little running room for the first time in a while for Coleman as he gets out near the 37-yard line. McMillan and Perry there for the stop.
Yeah, they came with the blitz, probably figuring that Indiana down like this is going to throw the ball, so they call a pass blitz and they hand the ball off. Lucky it didn't break for bigger yards.
Second down and 2. Coming up on 2 minutes to play in this one. Tevin Coleman, a first down, and Coleman down to the 48-yard line. Powell on the tackle. That's an 11-yard run for Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman now over 175 yards on the ground this afternoon. From the 48 on first down. Coleman again. Coleman with a hole into the secondary. Tevin Coleman on the move, and Tevin Coleman will score for Indiana. 52 yards for Tevin Coleman, who goes over 200 yards on the day. What a special running back this young man is.
He is, and you take into account, not to say anything bad about the Indiana offensive team, but he doesn't have the supporting cast that a lot of other running backs have, and that guy's good. And their offensive line's doing a good job. They're without a couple starters today.
Extra point is good for Griffin Oaks. 27 carries, 228 yards, averaging 8.4 yards per carry against the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Well, you can see they run a stunt, and they got a bust on the stunt. You saw the defensive tackle loop outside, the linebacker came, but the defensive end didn't come inside. That's why the hole was so big.
Came in second in the nation in rush yards per game. We showed you the numbers earlier for Tevin Coleman from a national standpoint, but what he has done on the road in the last couple of games: 307 last week, 228 this week, 535 rushing yards for Tevin Coleman on the road the last 2 weeks. And he's now got the Indiana records for 200-yard games in a season with 4. All of those in conference play. And in his career, 5 200-yard games. He is, and now the FBS rushing leaders up to the second. Of course, Melvin Gordon hasn't gotten started yet against Iowa, but Tevin Coleman, 1,906 yards, and the onside kick covered up by the Buckeyes, and they'll be able to run this one out. Coleman today, 231 yards, Mace, of Indiana's 395 total yards.
Wow. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. And you look at those numbers of those backs. We used to think that 2,000 yards rushing in a season, Larry Johnson at Penn State did it and thought it was just unbelievable. And now we got a couple of guys getting ready to do it.
Big Ten trying for the back-to-back guys, the first conference with the nation's top 2 rushers. If they do it, it'll be the first time since Conference USA had the top 2 in 2007. Venture a guess as to who those 2 were in 2007 that led the nation for Conference USA. Glenn Mason is backing away from me at the moment. I don't know why you're doing that. Kevin Smith and Matt Forte.
Wow. Where'd you pull that one out of?
May have made it up. Second down and 6 at the 44. Ohio State seconds away from their 3rd consecutive division title. And still on track. 6th in the college football playoff poll. Will this be enough to hold the place or move up in the polls? We'll find out for sure on Tuesday. Style points, how important are they to the committee?
Well, I'm sure it is.
And that's going to be the final play of this ball game.
As the faithful break into renditions as the East Division champions shake hands there with Indiana. We don't give a damn for the whole state of Ohio, which is kind of a tradition here.
42-27, Ohio State with the victory today here in Columbus. Back to wrap things up in a moment on BTN. Glen Mason, Ohio State got a scare today. Indiana had a second-half lead, but the Buckeyes pull away. Jalen Marshall with 4 second-half touchdowns and a 42-27 Buckeye victory.
Yeah, they got a scare, but good football teams do what they have to do when they have to do it, and I think that's what you saw out here today.
Ohio State, the East Division champions, face Michigan next week, and then on to the Big Ten championship game. 42-27, Ohio State with a victory over Indiana. Maryland and Michigan coming up next. This has been an exclusive presentation of the Big Ten Network. For Glen Mason and Lisa Byington, I'm Kevin Kugler saying so long. Let's go back to Chicago and Dave Revson.